Antonio Vivaldi, one of the most influential and celebrated Baroque composers, was born on March 4, 1678, in Venice, Italy. He became widely known as an accomplished violinist, teacher, and composer, contributing significantly to the development of instrumental music, especially the concerto form. Vivaldi's innovative compositions, characterized by their vibrant rhythms and dynamic contrasts, were crucial in shaping the evolution of classical music. Early life and family background. Antonio Lucio Vivaldi was born into a family of musicians. His father, Giovanni Battista Vivaldi, was a professional violinist who played at the prestigious St. Mark's Basilica in Venice. Giovanni recognized Antonio's musical talent early on and began teaching him the violin. Antonio's mother, Camilla Calicchio, also played a significant role in his upbringing, though little is known about her. Antonio was the eldest of 6 siblings, and his early exposure to Venice's rich cultural and musical environment helped shape his future career. Vivaldi was baptized immediately after his birth, suggesting that he might have been in poor health. He suffered from a condition, possibly asthma, which affected him throughout his life. This condition made it difficult for him to play wind instruments and possibly influenced his decision to focus on stringed instruments and composition. Despite his health issues, Vivaldi showed remarkable aptitude for music from an early age. His father took him to perform in various venues around Venice, where he quickly gained a reputation as a talented violinist. By his teenage years, Vivaldi had developed considerable technical proficiency and was already composing his own music. Religious life and ordination. In 1693, at the age of 15, Vivaldi began studying for the priesthood, an option that many talented young men in Venice pursued as a means to gain education and secure a livelihood. In 1703, he was ordained as a priest. Due to his striking red hair, he became known as Il Prete Rosso, or the Red Priest. However, Vivaldi did not fully embrace the traditional life of a clergyman. Shortly after his ordination, he ceased celebrating Mass regularly, citing health reasons, particularly his persistent respiratory condition. Although Vivaldi's religious duties took a back seat, his clerical status gave him access to important patrons and institutions. His career in music began to flourish, and by the same year as his ordination, he was appointed Maestro di Violino, violin master, at the Pio Ospedale della Pietà, an orphanage and convent for girls in Venice. This institution was renowned for its music program, and Vivaldi spent much of his career associated with it. Career at the Ospedale della Pietà. The Ospedale della Pietà was one of 4 charitable institutions in Venice that provided education and care for orphaned and illegitimate girls. The institution was famous for its all-female orchestra and choir, which regularly performed in Venice. Vivaldi's role at the Ospedale was initially as a violin teacher, but over the years he expanded his duties to become a composer and director of concerts. Vivaldi's time at the Ospedale della Pietà was highly productive. He wrote many of his best-known works for the girls' orchestra, including his famous concerti, concertos, symphonies, sonatas, and sacred choral works. The performances at the Ospedale attracted considerable attention from both Venetian and foreign visitors, and Vivaldi's compositions for the orchestra became highly sought after. One of his most significant contributions to music was the development of the concerto, particularly the solo concerto, which typically features a single instrument set against an orchestral background. Vivaldi wrote over 500 concertos, approximately 230 of which were for the violin. His concerto for violin in E major, RV 269, commonly known as La Primavera, Spring from the Four Seasons, is among his most famous works. The Four Seasons and other works. Vivaldi's The Four Seasons, Le Quattro Stagioni, is one of the most famous and innovative compositions of the Baroque era. Published in 1725 as part of a larger collection titled Il Cimento dell'Armonia e dell'Invenzione, the contest between harmony and invention, the 4 violin concertos depict the changing seasons, each accompanied by a sonnet likely written by Vivaldi himself. These works stand out for their vivid, programmatic content, where music is used to represent elements of nature, such as bird songs, thunderstorms, and flowing brooks. The Four Seasons remains a staple of the classical music repertoire, celebrated for its expressive melodies and inventive use of the orchestra. Beyond the four seasons, Vivaldi composed a vast body of work, including operas, sacred music, and chamber music. His sacred compositions, such as the Gloria in D major, RV 589, reveal his deep understanding of choral and orchestral writing. The Gloria, in particular, is widely performed today and demonstrates Vivaldi's ability to blend the grandeur of religious music with the vivacity of his instrumental style. Vivaldi also composed nearly 50 operas, though his success in the operatic world was more sporadic than his instrumental achievements. He worked as a composer for the Teatro Sant'Angelo in Venice and produced operas for other theaters across Italy, including in Mantua, Rome, and Ferrara. Operas such as Orlando Furioso and Griselda showcase his dramatic flair and melodic inventiveness. Later years and decline. Despite his immense productivity and success, Vivaldi's career began to decline in the 1730s. Changes in musical tastes and the rise of other composers, such as Johann Sebastian Bach and George Frederick Handel, contributed to his decreasing popularity. Additionally, political changes in Venice and shifting fortunes at the Ospedale della Pietà led to a reduction in Vivaldi's commissions. In 1740, Vivaldi left Venice for Vienna, hoping to secure new patrons, particularly the support of Emperor Charles VI, who had shown interest in his music. Unfortunately, the emperor died shortly after Vivaldi's arrival, leaving the composer without a reliable source of income. Struggling financially and in poor health, Vivaldi died on July 28, 1741, in Vienna at the age of 63. He was buried in a simple grave, and his death went largely unnoticed. Legacy and rediscovery. After Vivaldi's death, his music fell into relative obscurity. His operas were rarely performed, and many of his instrumental works were forgotten. However, in the early 20th century, Vivaldi's music underwent a significant revival, largely due to the efforts of scholars and musicians who recognized the value of his compositions. The rediscovery of his works in the archives of the Ospedale della Pietà and other institutions led to a renewed appreciation for his contributions to the Baroque era. Vivaldi's influence on later composers, including Johann Sebastian Bach, who transcribed several of his concertos for keyboard, underscores his importance in the history of Western classical music. Today, Vivaldi is considered one of the greatest Baroque composers, and his works are performed and recorded by orchestras and musicians around the world. Conclusion. Antonio Vivaldi's life was marked by extraordinary creativity and innovation. As a violin virtuoso, teacher, and composer, he pushed the boundaries of Baroque music, particularly in the development of the concerto form. Despite the struggles he faced later in life, Vivaldi's music has endured and continues to captivate audiences with its energy, lyricism, and inventive spirit. His legacy as the Red Priest and a master of Baroque music remains influential to this day, cementing his place as one of the most important composers in history. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel